I'm a human being. I'm not a monster. To suggest that I don't care, out of everything that's been said during this whole year, that's probably the hardest one. I'm still confused.
And so are we, sister, as to how half of this BS that has come out of his mouth, he has done so with a straight face. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the damn sofa. My name's Paul, and that's the damn sofa behind me. That is Mr. Roscoe, and I'm actually pointing to my dog. I see he blends in. Several people commented that they always thought I was talking about the bear, so we have named him Roscoe as well. But they're both Roscoe. I'm talking about my little doggy there. The bear is Roscoe's little comfort bear, if you will. So anyways, we are going to continue on. This is part 2 and a 3-part series, I guess you could say, of me talking about the sentencing. If you follow me, you know it's been super busy with holidays moving, so I've had to kind of break this down. Today we're going to be focusing more on that 2-hour blabbering rant that he went on, and this is going to be focused just on like the remaining bit of what he had to say, right? First part we covered like his mother, his grandmother, his friend, and then some of what he said. Now, before we dive in, as always, thank you everybody who makes this sofa possible. It wouldn't be here without you. To the Patreons, the members, and everybody who hangs out on the sofa with me, engages with the video, talks about these cases. Thank you very much. And also thank you for keeping the victims' memories and stories alive out here by just talking about them. Now let's go ahead and dive on in and get to dishing.
Obviously, I think I should start with the obvious, Erica Patterson. I want you to know, if you're watching, I always have love for you. You're one of the mothers of my children. I can never hate you. I refuse to go that route. Always have love for you. I always respect you. We got a beautiful daughter. I haven't always been right in the things that I've said, things I've done in regards to you. What I will say is, it always takes two.
Oh my God. The whole time he's saying this about Erica, I'm waiting for the but, and then there it comes at the very end. It always takes two. He's not going to give her nothing. He goes on and on. He has gaslit her. He has thrown her under the bus. He has tried to bring up her custody. You name it throughout this entire trial, right? So I just, when he started going on to this, I was like, there's no way he's going to hand her a compliment. He hasn't been able to do that with anybody.
I'm 1,000,000% confident in where I'm going when this is all over. 1,000,000% confident. Regardless of what anyone thinks or says, I'm 1,000,000% confident in where I'm going.
Now, here's the thing with this. I think we can all safely say there's two versions of this, right? I'm 1,000,000% confident where he'll end up like on the other side, okay? And it's probably somewhere down below. And then I'm also 1,000,000% confident as to kind of what his experience is going to be like remaining on this earth, right? I think that he's doing a couple of things here. I think he's saying this because, number one, we've already seen it. He's some kind of a narcissist, egotistical, dude, right? He's also like trying to take ownership of being like, I know where I'm going. Doesn't matter what's going to happen to me. I know where I'm going, which I think he's trying to say that he's going to end up going to heaven, or, he's repented and all this kind of stuff, right? But I think he's trying to take that ownership because I don't think he's so stupid as to not be aware that he is going to be living a hell on earth before he goes to the real thing, okay?
I'm a human being. I'm not a monster.
Now, we saw this in the opening clips, but isn't it interesting? We hear this from him, which he's been saying this the whole time, right? We also heard it from the grandmother, too. That was the first things that came out of her mouth in her victim impact or whatever, not victim impact, I'm sorry, but in her, speaking for Darrell. First thing that came out, I'm not the wicked witch of the grandmother West or whatever she said, but it was similar to this. So again, I just think it's interesting when you compare the mother, the grandmother, and then listen to these little, sound bites coming out of Darrell, had the similarities in them. It's very important for him to, I think, have other people not think he's a monster, which that's just not going to happen. So it's almost like he's still trying to convince himself, maybe. I don't know. But regardless, for him to get up there and say all these things, it just makes you wonder, like, does the dude really think that we're going to buy that this was an accident, that this was not an attack, not intentional? It's like Sarah Boone's boyfriend's up here. Unintentional!
Believe it or not, I've prayed for all victims, family members for a year now to be able to make it through that process.
Now again, if you followed me, this is going to sound like familiar stuff coming from me. I do believe that he probably has prayed for them, but I do not think it is authentic. I do not think it is selfless. I think his prayers are in relation to himself getting out of trouble. I.e., please don't let them be hurt so he doesn't get more charges put against him type of situation. I think that he is probably prone to flying off the handle and doing whatever happens in the moment all the way up to a situation like this, and then tries to pick the pieces up afterwards. That's what characters like this do. And this one, you can't pick the pieces up. He's destroyed countless lives, and like the morale, the thing that makes a community feel safe and all that kind of stuff. I don't think he took it away, but he damaged it for sure.
That there's a side out of the courtroom that's not seen. What's seen in the courtroom is just a small piece of the whole puzzle.
Again, absolutely no self-awareness. Like, if any of us were on this, in this situation, saying this, we would make sure not to bring attention to the horrid tactics that we did in the courtroom. But he will sit here and try and say that that was just a small portion. So we're left to think, as most of us already have, what in God's name are you like back in your cell at the jail, right? Can you imagine what the guards go through every day with him, serving him food? The drama over just that, over chow time, over shower time, over it's time to go to the courthouse. I can't imagine what they went through with him on a daily basis of taking him to the courthouse. God forbid if someone, another inmate, whoever, is in earshot to listen to this idiot go on his rants all day long.
Feeling dead inside. Then feeling hopeful. Then feeling depressed. Then feeling happy. Then feeling upset. Just up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. %90 of the time not even knowing why you're going from point A to B. Why is it going like this?
I legit thought he was going to start spitting verses. Some of this stuff, I legit think he's in his cell, like making up some raps and stuff like that, and then he's coming and just speaking them in the courtroom, right? Because you saw his back and forth, to the left, to the right, you know what I'm saying? I was like, if he starts doing something up in here, with this, been doing some beatbox stuff, I'm done. We've seen his video of his rap music video that he did with the car in it, okay? This dude is not the brightest, all right? So I was just like, what is he doing here? What is he doing here? And I was just like, I think he's trying to spit some rhymes at us, y'all.
Hey, how could you say this? And how, like I said before, how people process this tragedy is how they choose to.
Now he speaks of this, this how people process the tragedies, how they choose to, and all this. Again, it's like this alleviating any accountability to it, but then almost like placing this blame of sorts, and I don't even know if blame is the right word, but like putting the ball back into the victim's court of, look, this tragedy happened, and how if you choose to go down that path, that's your choice. And it's like they didn't have the choice. You took the choice away from them by making them a victim, right? And so now to sit here and say, well, it's your choice how you respond to this, and blah, 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 blah. There's a process that people have to go through. The things that he did to these people, the harm that he inflicted on them, and then to sit here and almost make it like, well, that's your choice. If you want to get up here and talk about me, that's, you're a lesser person than. Again, it just goes to show that his absolute disconnect with those around him, but also with the courtroom and the situation that he's in right now. He is supposed to be up there, remember this, talking about what he thinks his sentences should be, right? And this is what we're getting.
Mr. Brooks, what do you think this court should do?
As far as the sentences are concerned with all of these convictions.
I mean, someone had to say it, right? She was being so nice, like, what do you think we should do? She's dying inside, right? She's just like, oh my God, please. I mean, come on, because also keep in mind, I believe at this point she already knows, she has prepared her sentencing, right? But she's going to take into account, like, look, is there anything that might be mitigating? Like, let me take into account what I'm going to hear here. And thank God she threw the book at him. But again, at this point in this video with these clips, he's gone on for an hour and a half with this nonsense and not really even talked about what his punishment should be. He's still been gaslighting, blaming, doing this, doing that, anything but taking any kind of responsibility, saying he's sorry, talking about what I should get for a punishment.
Honestly, Your Honor, and I don't want this to be taken out of context. I believe there's issues with me attempting to answer that. And here's why.
I would have fallen out of the judge's chair after that. How dramatic was he leading up to that, right? I thought he was going to tell her what a crappy job she did. And then he's going right back up to where we started off at the beginning of this trial. I'm going to have issues answering that. Well, no duh. We've listened to weeks of that. You've had issues answering everything, okay? Everything.
There's issues with me attempting to answer that. And here's why. I'm still confused. I'm still confused on the true nature and cause of the charges. I don't understand them.
That was literally the last thing he needed to say, and I'm just guessing he's still trying to take one last stab at a mistrial or a appeal or something. I don't know, but the fact that he's going to get up here during this time and say he's still confused about the charges, it's just, this is, like he even said, this is very cut and dry. You plowed through a parade, you took numerous lives, wrecked numerous lives, did all this stuff. You're all up on video everywhere. Everywhere. It is just, it's no question about it. And he's still going to get up here and say this. God bless the judge for remaining cool during this.
I also believe a decision was already made before we even got here. And I could be wrong. That's not a shot. It's not a slight in any way towards Your Honor. It's not. And I don't want that to be taken out of context as well.
He says these things that it's not a shot. It's not a slight. I don't want to be taken out of context. Yeah, oh, the decision was already made before I got here. And again, I mean, sometimes these trials are not so much about guilt or innocence, even though, yes, that's what it is. It's more about punishment. And it's something like this where he tried so many different things of insanity and this, and let me fire a lawyer, let me do this, da da da. Even though it did come about rather quickly, I'm kind of shocked. Yeah, but this was to me more about guilt. Like, what kind of punishment are you going to get, right? And I mean, again, with cases like this where there's so many victims, I mean, as we've seen with the sentencing, the judge's hands are kind of tied for the most part. You know, especially in these states where it's like we don't have, you know, the ultimate, the DP sentence. You know, there's just a few different things that they can do. And again, I just felt like this was that, but I don't think that he's coming at it from that way. I think that he is coming at it from a place of trying to thwart the case, be able to appeal this kind of a thing, because you know he's going to come back and immediately be like, I told the judge I don't understand. I told the whole time, I said I don't understand, I don't get what's going on.
I will say help is needed. When you've dealt with certain things as long as I have, we have so many questions about where to start. Where to start. We have so many questions about what can give you the help you need. Who can point you in the direction to get the help you need. There's so many things that you don't know where to start at.
Now, after all this time that he's gone on and on, he finally starts going into the mental health thing, right? He's gonna this is what I call his groveling, because he's just like dry begging, right? He's too proud to actually come out and ever say something. And we'll see a couple of more instances of this where he has to pinpoint what he thinks should happen. But this is the first of it, where he's like, the mental health issue. We already saw from what the grandmother and the mother said that they've probably drilled this into his head since he's been young, right? But also evidence shows that anytime that he's been in the care of them or whatever, no treatment of these things were sought. It was almost like always looked upon like, why didn't somebody else take responsibility for him and put him on this stuff? But I mean, she could have done this all along. So I just think it's kind of an easy cop-out, and of course it's going to be easy for him to say this. He's fighting for his life, and he's shown no signs of accountability at all.
I believe that because of the issues I have, sometimes I may have said things that you probably didn't really understand what I was meaning by it. I'm not sharpest knife in the drawer.
I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer. I could have told you that. My God almighty. I mean, come on. And then to sit here and blame this on there. Well, because of that, I've said things. And again, I always stand by this when people, and I don't even say just criminals, people in general who hide behind things like this do harm to people who might really have these situations, these issues, these mental health things going on. Just because you have a mental health situation doesn't make you a person like Darrell, right? And so I feel like he is sitting here trying to align that, like, well, because I have this mental health thing, I couldn't help what I said, right? And he's shown no evidence of any true diagnosis. If any evidence has been presented, it's the opposite, right? But he's just going to try and throw out these generic things, just like his mother did. It was like this little generic thing about mental health and whatnot. The grandmother got a little more pointed with bipolar, that kind of stuff, but the judge shot all that down, right? But I just feel it's just another layer of ickiness and another layer of just kind of ostracizing another community or whatever, however you want to refer to that he's doing in this situation.
Your Honor, I'm confused. I don't understand the true nature and cause of the charges. So I can't really consent to being sentenced when I'm still trying to, I don't understand. It's not a delay tactic. It's not attempting to be disruptive. it's not intended to stop the proceedings. It's my honest opinion. I have trouble with comprehension.
I don't consent to being sentenced. I mean, I have heard it all. I mean, you have got to be kidding me. Now, really, if you just listen to what he's saying, I don't understand my comprehension. He is 100% trying to be able to come back on this and say he didn't understand this. Because one big thing that we do see in these court cases is, if there is some kind of a mental health issue going on and someone doesn't really understand what's going on in the courtroom, what's going on with their case, oftentimes this can either delay things until they are brought up to a place of competency to stand trial. This kind of a situation, he knows what's going on in that courtroom. The judge will say in her sentencing speech, whatever you want to call it, he's shown signs of very sophisticated arguments, even though to us it comes off like, what are you talking about? The fact that he can comprehend enough to try and make the argument is all you need to know, right? And so for him to sit here and do this, he knows what awaits him. It ain't pretty. It is going to be hell on earth, and he is trying to avoid going to that as much as he can. This is almost like and I don't know if a eulogy is the right word for it, but like something that someone says at a funeral, that might be it. I don't know. But it's like he's giving it for himself, right? Again, it's like his last speech, like a toast to himself, because I think he has to know what awaits him when he goes down the road.
You aren't the only person going through this. This doesn't make you any less than anybody else. I wasn't asked to be born this way, Your Honor. I wasn't. I was not. I don't understand it. But the fact of the matter is I want to get to a point of happiness again. To be able to be medicated and not care what people think. To be able to speak my truth without having to feel ashamed that some people may think of me lesser than a person because I have to be medicated for life, or because they feel like it's not normal.
So again, we see here with the whole dynamic of caring what people think about being medicated, what will they say, so on and so forth. The mother spoke about this, and this is very true. There is often a major stigma, a lot of shame surrounding mental health. I don't know about other countries, but I know here in the USA, there's still a lot of stigma that surrounds that. I do think that has become better over the years. However, this definitely is true, but okay, I do not think it is true in this case, because I don't think that he would have cared at all about any of this until he needed to, which is now, because he's trying to get out of trouble, right? So now it's convenient to say, oh, well, I don't want to be medicated because people would say something about me and yada, yada, yada. Not to mention, I want to get back to a place of happiness. Really? So do all your victims, and it's going to take them a lifetime, and guess what? It can take him a lifetime too. He can paint some little pictures in jail, in prison, in Supermax, wherever the hell he's going. He can paint some little pictures, do whatever he needs to do, and find solitude there.
I should be able to go somewhere where I can be helped, where I can be properly evaluated, where I can be properly medicated. If that is an extended period of a long, long time, at least I know that I'm getting what I need. Not what I want, what I need. At least then I would be able to say,
okay, so here's the ask, as they like to say. Okay, it took 2 hours to get to it, right? He wants to go to a mental health institution. This is what he wants. This is what he doesn't want it. He needs it. And he's trying to go with the whole thing. And again, for him to sit here and try and say, oh, I don't understand this, now I don't understand that, but you can look at the behaviors and be like, dude, it doesn't matter how you dress this up. It's very clear that you understand what's going on. He wants to go to a mental health institution, and even if he's locked up for an extended amount of time, I do not know if he actually thinks he could possibly get a going home date. I don't know if he's that stupid. But he may be so. But this whole little dry bag thing about asking to go to a mental health place is par for the course at this point, right? Now, again, he can get these the meds and all this kind of stuff. He can get this stuff in prison, right? And he knows that. Everybody knows that. The judge knows that, whatnot. It's obviously much safer for him in his role to go to a mental health institution. Now, this whole thing, I can be me. Can you imagine what his version of the real him would be? I mean, my God. Imagine him in a mental health institution. God bless the therapist who would have to work with him. Can you imagine every day being like, well, here you are in therapy. Darrell, what's on your mind? Every day someone will be tortured with that, with this nonsense right here.
I'll follow it up again. What I hear you saying, sir, is that you don't have a specific recommendation in terms of how long the sentences are, whether they're life, whether they're consecutive, whether they're concurrent, but you're asking me to take into consideration your mental health needs and your desire to get help. Would that be fair?
Yes. I would say, I think it should be, what you said, what was the term you used?
The extended supervision term or consecutive versus concurrent?
Yeah. The concurrent.
Right. Serving sentences at the same time versus consecutive, one after the other.
Serving all together.
I mean, again, the next ask, right? You can't tell me for 1 second that he doesn't know what concurrent means. And you saw the way he tried to act like a little boy. What was the one you just said? Your consecutive or your concurrent? Concurrent. I'm just like, get out of here. Just get out of here. I mean, honestly, yeah, all at the same time. I mean, just a coward through and through.
It would greatly benefit me to be able to be somewhere where, like I said, I can properly evaluated and medicated with the things that I need.
Him and his family love that word medicated. And trust me, everyone's going to want him medicated and just doped up on something when he gets in there. My God, just to bring the conversation down a notch or two. I mean, my Lord. But again, look at how much he wants and asks and is seeking mercy and forgiveness, yet offered that to no one in his life. And I mean the people that know him as well as the victims in the town that he terrorized.
I want the
saying,
I want the opportunity.
And again, I think we're starting to repeat some of these topics that you've covered, and I understand what you're saying. And
I want to beat this. I want to beat this. I want the
understand
opportunity to beat it, to show that it can be beat.
At this time,
I don't have to live like, I want to show. I want to show that regardless of anything, that there is still hope.
There's still hope. Can't roll my damn eyes hard enough. To say that in a courtroom with all these victims in there, that takes balls, right? I want to beat it. I want to beat it. Are you kidding me? Like, I mean, so he's sitting here, I want to rise up to show everybody, look, you can beat this mental health issue. No, absolutely not. And for the next video, we are going to see exactly what the judge has to say about his absolute ridiculous rant. But in the meantime, if you want to watch me continue talking about him, click the video that's popping up now.